Welcome back, everybody, to ACG, where we're just a couple gamers. This is the pilot episode for L.I.O.N. That's Like It or Not, ladies and gentlemen, because that's exactly what you're going to get here is our opinions on the things that are going on in the world. I am your boy Smooth. I've got my partner.
I'm your boy Doc. What's happening, everybody?
And this is something completely new, guys, that we've never covered before on this channel. And that coverage is going to be extremely important in the weeks and months to come, because Doc brought up a great point earlier, guys. And the great point was that we have a lot to offer the people in the way of information, in the way of ideas, and just kind of broadening the horizons of the listeners. I know from personal experience, guys, that the majority of the population are sheep. They walk around day-to-day lives, clocking in, working for somebody else, and they have the wool over their eyes, for a lack of better terms. And, you know, there's a lot of things going on in this world, guys, that you can't just take someone's word for it. You have to do your own bit of research. You have to do, you have to do what's best for you in this world and what's best for everybody. And I really wish people would stop taking things for what they seem and start actually doing their own research, because knowledge is power, guys. And that's what Doc and I are here for, is to give you guys news on the things that are happening right now, but also, and more importantly, I think, to give you guys perspective, that an outsider perspective, so you guys can see for yourself what's really going on, and hear it from people that actually care about you, your personal well-being, and the knowledge that your kids are also being taught in schools, which we'll cover on another subject that I'm highly passionate about. So with that being said, Doc, I'm gonna say my vision for the channel, but what is your vision for the channel? More importantly.
Well, let me get that link so we can share first.
Oh, my man, I messed up. Okay, so we gotta get the link. We're gonna send it to Doc. All right.
Or I'll put it in the after hours so we can get that going. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. No worries. Once that's happening, we're good. We're solid. Give me a second. Let me just do something right fast.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the after hours if you want to put it somewhere else.
Already got it. We're good.
Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and share that link as well, guys. Share the link, guys, because we're gonna there's so much information to go over with you guys. It's kind of hard to figure out where to start. But if you guys didn't know from the actual picture that we posted, this is about the Kansas City celebration parade shooting. This was a mass shooting. There's tons of innocent people were harmed. A lot of them went to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. A lot of them were life-threatening, and as far as we know, one person did pass away. We're gonna cover all of this stuff, from top to bottom. But I just want you guys to know we will keep it PG in here. There's a lot of stuff that happened during this event that I can't show you. I will provide links to some of the more raw footage, so that you guys can see for yourself the devastation that took place in Kansas City. But before we get into all of that, I just want to double check with my co-host here and make sure that he's good. Is everything all right on your end, my friend?
Oh yeah, everything is good. I got the link out, so we're good to go. Appreciate that.
I didn't even ask. Did you want to come on camera for this? Because I don't. We don't have anything in the background at all.
No, not right now.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, no, right now. I will though. Eventually, I will. No worries.
No
Trust me.
I didn't ask, so I didn't want you to think that I was,
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. You're good. You're good.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and start right at the top then. We're gonna go over what exactly happened, and then we'll go from there, guys. So
How about we do this? How about we do this just to make it fair? How about we tell the audience, number one, why we do this? Like what both of our visions are, like you mentioned. Right?
Yeah.
Remember you mentioned that. Okay, so I wanted to answer that question. And so here's the reason why, and this is the vision I see. You mentioned something about sheep, and I was once one of those sheep. I was one of those characters. I would just literally follow what was said versus into researching what really happened. And as you tap in more and more, you start to realize some of the things that we've been taught, we have been misled. And so I feel like it's our duty, I feel like it's our God-given right to plant seeds when seeds need to be planted. We may have some individuals that come on here and disagree and rebuttal with the stuff that we say. And me personally, I'm okay with that, right? I'm totally okay. And here's the reason why I'm okay. Because that means something intrigues you for you to speak out. And sometimes we need folks to speak out, right? I did a devotion on quick to listen, right? Quick to listen and slow to speak. And I did that on TikTok. And that's that gave me that type of vision to coincide with you. Because sometimes we need to listen to folks to hear what they have to say, right? And why not better to have a podcast like us who are just keeping it 100% real, getting information where we can get the information, share it with our family, right? And see and ask how they feel about it, right? And at the same time, share knowledge and share wisdom and share testimonies and share what is going on in the world today. You know what I'm saying? Outside the spectrum of what really is going on, if that makes any sense. And that's my vision. My vision is I just want to talk to everybody. I want everybody to, let's have a conversation about stuff. You know what I mean? Let me hear how you feel about it. Because sometimes it's good to vent, especially with what's going on in today's society. So I just want to be an outlet for folks. Information for people.
I feel the exact same way. To be honest with you, I wasn't taken aback, but I was like shocked when I brought up the idea to do this, and you were totally on board with it, because I have been looking for somebody else that wanted to give people an outlet for something like this. Because guys, I'm telling you right now, the stuff we're going to talk about on this podcast is just gonna knock your socks off. We're going to be talking about things that other podcasts
we call on the White House
they won't. They won't.
Right.
They won't talk about
the same way.
Right.
I apologize. I have some kind of ad playing right now. It's really annoying. I'm sorry. Yeah, so the things that we are going to cover are definitely going to be racy. They're going to be edgy. We might offend a few people. But guys, that's one thing I want you to keep in mind on this podcast, is that's what this is freedom of speech, guys. So you're going to hear some shit. All right? I'm just be blunt. You guys are going to hear some shit. So I do share the same
real blunt.
Yeah. I do share the same vision as Doc with this podcast. So you guys sit tight, get yourself a drink and a snack, because this shit's about to go down.
Shout out to everybody that's in the room. T-Rex, hey,
T-Rex, Athena, the guys
love
are
you too.
in here.
Love you too. Welcome in. Come on in, y'all. Come on in.
Sit tight, guys, because Doc and I are about to take you on a ride. All right, are you ready to do this, Doc?
Yo, let's roll, player. I'm ready to go with this.
All right, guys, here it is. Kansas City shooting may have stemmed from a personal dispute. This is an update on the original statement, press release. Originally, they said 22 people were injured, and one dead. Then there was more reports. They did an update from another news source. They're saying now a total of 39 people were injured, guys. Two juveniles were detained in connection with Wednesday's shooting in Kansas City after the Super Bowl, which left one dead. And guys, this is really sad. The story behind the woman who was killed. Many blessings to her family. My heart and my prayers are with you guys. It touches me on a different level when stuff like this happens. Damn, dude, I'm sorry. Yeah, give me a second.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
This kind of stuff is hard to talk about, dude. It really is.
Right. But it needs to be said, right?
Right.
I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Being ex-military, looking at things like this disturbs me. Okay, disturbs me. First, I want to send my condolences and my prayers and my love to the families. Number one, to the individual who was unalive. I don't like to say I don't like to say the other word. That's just me. But I pray for them. Now here's the second thing. I pray for those that are in critical condition, that are in the hospitals right now, right? But I also pray for their families. Because here's the thing. When they walked out that door, nobody knew that this was going to happen. Okay? And that's the thing that sometimes news outlets and people don't want to speak on. They like to pacify it. But in reality, we need to wake the fuck up, right? We need to wake up, okay? Yeah, I just wanted to say that right now before we go deep into this, because it kind of behooves me, because looking at statistics right now, the shooting was the second in a year. Listen to this, okay? The shooting was the second in a year at a major U.S. sports title celebration after 2 people were wounded in June. Dog, listen to this. This is 2 in 1 year. And the first one happened in Denver after the Denver Nuggets parade.
Damn.
That's crazy. Now here's the thing, okay? Watch this. There's going to be a spin in this. And this is where my militarism come into play, okay? There's going to be a spin in this. You know what I'm saying? They're going to make it 2 ways. These juveniles, I think they're going to spin it 2 ways. The juveniles were illegals, and here's the catch. Because if they were, and there's no disrespect, but if they were, you can put 2 and 2 together on that. Or they were youngsters that got into a quarrel, as they say. So there's two different stories that are coming out. But let's talk about both of those theories if you want to talk about it for a second. Number one, let's talk about if they were illegals. Let's talk about that for a second.
Okay, where do you want to go from there?
So if it were illegals, who do you blame for that?
Well, that's gonna go into a whole completely different direction. I see where you're going with this. There's no real answer for that question. Basically it's gonna come down to our government, right? Obviously, but then all of this can go back to our government. What I think is interesting is, if you look at even the Las Vegas mass shooting that happened during the concert, right, that took place,
Right.
the police presence was so insane there that they felt comfortable. I mean, they had so much security, so many off-duty cops, on-duty cops, you know what I'm saying, all over the place. That the shooter he knew this. So he had to preemptively plan that attack in Las Vegas, and he did it from, however many floors up, crazy high in the sky with assault rifle, with, crazy scopes and shit. This was not that type of incident. This was an altercation that supposedly took place after the Super Bowl, maybe in the parking lot, maybe on the way out, maybe it happened in the stands as everybody's leaving. We don't know details on that part. I'll try and get those details. But
what do you mean? What details on the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl shooting?
Yeah. So they're saying
it was at the parade. It was at the parade.
Yeah. But they're saying that the altercation started at the Super Bowl. So whether it started in the stands or it started on the way out or in the parking lot, it started there and spilled out into where the parade was going on. So with there could have been a chase. One group of people could have been chasing another group of people. It could have just been, okay, motherfucker, whoever gets to the parking lot gets to the car and the Glock first, whatever. But the situation did spill out into this parade area. Now, what I'm looking at right here, guys, I have it on the screen for you, and I'll scroll this down a little bit so you can see. It says, as we know, officers ran towards danger. Officers were there to keep everyone safe. Well, if officers were there to keep everybody safe, then answer this question for me. It says over 800 police officers were on the scene at the time of the incident. 600 of the 800 of which were from Kansas City Police Department. So you've got 600. Think about this for a second, guys. Yes, this fucking street that the parade is on, yes, it is a very, very, very long street. For all we know, it could have wrapped around a bunch of different blocks. I also have the map for you guys I'm going to show you here in a second, but if you look at the facts here, you've got 800 police officers on scene, and this is the type of thing that happens. The question you have to ask yourself is how something like this can happen with a police presence that of which consists of a small army. Let's not beat around the bush here, folks. 800 armed, trained police officers were on scene, not after it happened. It's not like this happened and then 800 police officers descended upon this one area. No. 800 police officers accounted for were already on the scene when this happened. So again, folks, you need to ask yourself how something like this can happen with 800 police officers. If this is the type of shit that's gonna happen with 800 police officers on the scene, policing no longer works, people. If this is the type of shit that happens with 800 fucking officers armed and trained on site before an incident happens, policing is not working. Not with these types of weapons. Guys, let me show you the image that I found because I was curious myself. As I was looking at this, and this was over probably a 36-hour period, as I kept looking at this news update, the tally of those who were affected by the gunfire, the victims, the number just kept growing. So I kept thinking to myself, was this a terrorist attack? These are numbers of injured in which would normally be something like a terrorist attack. Yes, mass shootings is mass casualties and mass injured, but that's a crazy amount of people, right? To have 800 officers there and that many people got hit. So it made me question what type of weapon was used. This is a picture that I found. It says the image from one of the heroes who tackled the suspect. So we'll get to that towards a little bit later in the segment. What exactly took place that actually ended this mass shooting. But look at this weapon, guys. I have to try and get this for you. Wait, here it is, guys. This is an assault rifle, guys. This is not a Glock.
That is an AR.
This is not a shotgun. This is an AR, assault rifle, guys. This was one of the weapons that was taken off the suspect, guys. One of the suspects. So that just kind of give you guys an idea of the type of firepower we're talking about. That was used. Unfortunately,
that clip though. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a lot of bullets, guys.
Listen. That was not. Listen. If that wasn't the cop's gun, and that's the folks' gun, this wasn't what folks are saying what it was. And I'll just leave that right there. I'll just keep that right there for you. Because number one, let me explain something. Kansas City, who's carrying an AR that big into a stadium? Let's think about this for a second. Who's going to carry that into a stadium when the stadium has security when you go into the stadium? You got to remember, think about this, guys. I'm about to put another angle on you after what Smooth said, okay? Here's planting one of those seeds. When you go to any stadium or any type of venue, you understand? You go to any type of venue, what happens? They have to do security and check. So I'm not believing that these folks were already in the stadium or by the stadium I'm not believing that story. Because number one, you couldn't get that piece out. You couldn't get that piece into the stadium. Number two, where are you carrying that piece? Facts.
No, again, this was after, so this wasn't getting it in. This was the first person to get to their car, which, you don't know where these people are parked. If these guys went into the Super Bowl, they could have been parked somewhere outside of the stadium. You know what I'm saying? It could have been one of them situations. So again, this is whoever gets to their trunk or their car or wherever they had the weapon, whoever gets to the weapon first wins. Right?
I don't. Okay, hold on. Here's another angle. That all I can say is communication. And we'll just leave that right there. Let's put telecommunication. Who's to say that they were really in the stadium? But who's to say whoever initiated what was in the stadium and when they went out, they just made a phone call and said, there they go, they're walking that way. Right? Because there were three of them. From my understanding, there were three of them. They caught two. Right? So were they all three together in the stadium? And then here's my thing, and this is the only thing I'm going to question, is on your theory, and this is the only question I have on your theory, not disagreeing with your theory, but just questioning it, just to throw something out there. You got to think about the time that it takes for them to hurry up and get to their car, right? And then hurry up, get what they have to get, and hurry up and get to that person or peoples that they're trying to get to, right? Here's my thing. I'm thinking one set of folks are leaving with the plane and are leaving and going, and the other set of folks are going to have to get what they have to get, and then they have to hurry up and go catch them. That's a lot of work. So that must have been a big argument in that stadium or whatever they said. Think about that for a second. That's where I'm confused at. You're gonna waste all that time, and here's the thing. It goes back to 800 cops. So if you're saying there was 32 people injured, right? One passed away. God bless her soul. So let's divide 800 divided by 32. Okay? Statistically, that's 25 people per cop. I'm done. Think about that for a second. So that's 25. That's a lot of people, bro. That's a lot of bro. It's a lot of cops.
Like I said, it's a small army, okay? And you guys have to imagine for just a second the scale and size of which this place actually is. I know it's kind of hard to wrap your head around if you've never been there, you've never seen it, or you've never seen it even on TV outside of the actual stadium, guys. But this is a huge place, okay? Here's the thing. If the people didn't have the weapons on them and they had to get to where the weapon was, one of the questions remains to me: how did they, like Doc was saying, how did they get from where the altercation started back to where the weapon is, and then get back to find the people they had
That's
the
what I'm
problem
saying.
with. There's more
That's
to
what
the
I'm saying.
story. This isn't adding up, guys. The other thing that's not adding up to me is this. Yes, like Athena says, an AR is actually not an assault rifle. An assault rifle is a fully automatic, like a machine. AR stands for Armalite, which is the company originally made it. Okay.
Right.
So, but my thing is this, right? The difference. Okay, look. Yes, if you're talking about somebody who has an assault rifle that is an automatic, and he's up against somebody who's trained with a regular AR that's not an automatic, he can still kill the person who has an automatic. To me, the gun is only as dangerous as the person whose hands is holding it, right? Whether you're trained or untrained, that's still true, right? The gun is only as dangerous as the owner or the person holding it. So my point being is this. I can't imagine too many scenarios, maybe 2 or 3 scenarios in my head, why somebody would have a dispute with somebody. Let's just say this was a discourse, right? Let's just say this was an argument. The one guy slept with the other guy's wife or girlfriend, right? Something super serious where people normally, psychos, whatever, normally go grab a gun and commit murder. This is at a game, like we said, with 800 people. So, ladies and gentlemen, another thing you have to ask yourself here. I'm going to put myself in this guy's shoes, okay? I bump into, let's just say this is gang related. Even fucking gang related, guys. Even in the streets, there's a street code. Innocent people are left alone. Women and children, all that, left alone. So let's just say this was the worst case scenario. 2 gang members, they had street beef. They see each other at the Super Bowl. Yo, it's up as soon as we get to the parking lot. Okay, so let's say this was the situation. Can you guys please tell me a situation in which even a gang-related situation would require me, the guy who's like, all right, I'm going to end this guy's life. I go grab my rifle, right? I find the guy. Let's say this is a packed area with so many fucking people from the city in this parade that they literally needed 800 police officers, right? Even if I saw him and he's running through the crowd, I'm not emptying an entire clip of bullets into a packed crowd to kill that man. Not in any given situation. So that's bullshit. I call bullshit. Even if there was a criminal element to the matter where this guy really was like, I'm a hitman or I'm a gang member and this guy is my fucking sworn enemy. In no scenario has this ever happened where they're going to mow down an entire crowd of women, children, old, everybody, right? You're not doing that. So let's be real about this. If there's multiple suspects here, and they said that there was 2 suspects that were detained, they were like teenagers or some shit, and one was an adult that they released upon proving that I'm not sure, they released him. But even if they were dumb, stupid teenagers, and it was gang related or whatever, fucking Game of Thrones type sworn enemy shit, they're not mowing down a crowd of innocent people. So what really fucking happened, Doc? What happened? How could this happen?
Okay, so right now, looking at the update, what happened? Good question. So the shooting was a personal dispute between several people in which others were wounded, the captain said. He said there was no link to terrorism or homegrown extremism, okay? So I'm kind of confused on this because here's the thing that mind boggles me, okay? 1, authorities say 2 juveniles. Let's just stop right there. So you mentioned something earlier in your respectful speech, bro, that, what the fuck is going on? Because there is a code. There actually is a code. I never gangbanged in my life, but I knew a lot of them, right? Never gangbanged in my life, swear to God. but I knew a lot of them. Respected the game. I definitely did. Respected how to walk around the neighborhoods instead of going through the neighborhoods, right? And the code I know for a fact is kids and family is off limits. Kids, wives, off limits. Because it's only the person that you're going after, okay? They're calling this several disputes. Here's my thing. I'm questioning the several disputes because there were 31 injured and one passed away. But it was a dispute though. So if it was a dispute, logically you're thinking it could be a group of people. But I've noticed, and here, let me give you this spin on this. And I'm not going to try to go, I'm not sidetracking, but I'm trying to give you guys an example. If you go back in the news in this past NFL season, you see the same shit that just went down today, but people were using their fists. So what is different from today or when this happened than the last 15 weeks of the season? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now listen to this. Now listen to this though. Now listen to this. Zena. Oh, trust me, I know this was domestic terrorism. I'm definitely not fooling myself. Believe me, I'm against the grain. I don't believe it was what they're telling us. Okay? Because see, some of the things just don't add up to me. All right? It really doesn't. But it goes back to what I just said though. I just said something that kind of piqued some interest. So how do you feel about what I just mentioned, bro? Because you was like, oh, whoa. Like, how do you feel about that though? Because I'm not feeling, because they're two juveniles, right? And here's the thing. Juveniles. What is a juvenile doing with that big ass gun right now? With a clip like that? You understand? In Kansas City, bro, I know people in Kansas City. This is what mind boggles me. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're giving you, and I'm going to say this, and people may not like me for this, but this is what this show's about. Let's go back to, what was that shooting back east where you are? It was an elementary school. It started with an S. But there was a shooting back then, right? Mm-hmm. And the narrative was, somebody came in there and shot all the kids and everything. But you got to ask yourself a question. What was the agenda behind that, right? The same people that been in those little mass shootings are the same people that are still doing these other mass shootings. You better hear what I just said. Listen, the same actors that are in these mass shootings are the same actors that are in these other mass shootings. Did you hear what I just said? All right, I'll leave it alone at that. Now, back to this story though. I'm saying this for a reason, right? Because I don't believe two juveniles can run with an AR-15 and just start spraying when you have a dispute with certain individuals. So you telling me you're gonna shoot motherfuckers because someone is 70 yards down. So you feel you're a sniper and you're gonna really shoot motherfuckers from 70 yards down? Does that really make sense?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. Make this make sense for me. I know how to shoot a gun. I served this country. I went to war. Nobody knows that, but now y'all do. So I know. And all of this ain't what it is. And if people may not like to hear what I say about that, but it's the facts. Once again, how are you getting into the stadium if you were in the stadium, if supposedly you started in the stadium? Okay? Now, I can understand if it started at the cars. I can understand that. And it looks like it started around that area. So I can respect that. Right? So my thing is, it goes back to your question. Where was security and all the cops at?
Okay.
Why did it take players to risk their lives when you had 800 cops there? That's a good question.
So what I'm trying to figure out is, where was the stadium? So I've got the map here. Shout out to everybody watching. Shout out Chat Mafia. I see you in the building.
Shout out. Shout out. Hey, if y'all got anything to say about this, man, look, listen, put it out here.
Yeah,
we'll definitely shout it out for y'all too. This is what this podcast is for. We want to be transparent. We want to hear what you guys think about this. How do y'all feel about this?
Yeah, how do you guys
feel? You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it real 100. How do you feel about this?
So, guys,
go ahead, dog.
Yeah, so I've got the map of Kansas City pulled up here, guys. This is the internal structure of the Kansas City, okay? As you can see here, I've got pulled up 1/4 of a mile. That is the length of this area here where the parade starts at 6th Street and all the way down to where it ends here near Union Station, guys, where the shooting took place. Now, what I would probably say is most of the police presence is going to be on the east and the west end of this parade on either side of the street, right? Blocking it off, making it safe. Let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't even know, guys, how many little streets are connected to this one route here. But I can tell you 800 police officers could easily make sure this is completely locked down. Now, how they position these police officers, it evades me. I don't know. But I would assume that if it's all blocked off on either side, the east and the west side of the streets here, guys, that there's going to be a huge and heavy police presence at the beginning of 6th Street up here where it starts and down here at the end near Union Station. Now, with that being said, you could assume that Union Station being here, and I don't know if that's where the actual fucking I want to keep on to say Super Bowl, where the stadium is Union Station the Super Bowl, or the stadium? Does anybody know? Is that the stadium? No. Okay.
No. So look, let me see. Now, let me throw this at you for a second, okay? So 800 cops, but there was about 1 million fans there. So just imagine 1 million fans along east and west side of that parade route. That's a lot of fans, dog.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. And so 800 cops. I don't know who dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah, but basically my point of pulling this up here is to kind of show you guys a representation of what we're talking about, but also to try to imagine how 800 police officers will be stationed in this area. Because again, I don't feel like this was a regular dispute. I don't believe the narrative that they're pushing about this at all. But while you guys simmer and marinate on this thought, I do want to be respectful here, and I would like to shed some light first on the victim who passed away due to this tragedy. May she rest in peace. I want to give a little bit of backstory on her, and then we'll move on after we have a moment of silence for her. But she was a radio DJ, Lisa Lopez Galvin. I hope I said that correctly. She died after getting shot at the rally. Her employer at KKF 190.1 FM said, "We're absolutely devastated at the loss of such an amazing person who gave so much to KKFI and the KC community." Station spokesperson Kelly Daughtry said in the email to CNN, Lopez Galvin leaves behind an incredible legacy, said Manny Abarca, a Jackson County, Missouri legislator who was at the parade with his daughter. He knew Lopez Galvin, a member of a very large family of civic leaders, actively involved with the city's Latino community. She was the light of every party. She was oftentimes the voluntary DJ when everyone needed one for a community event, he told CNN. Members of Lopez Galvin's family are among those injured during the shooting. Oh my God. Guys, I didn't know that. Again, to the family of Miss Lopez Galvin, our thoughts are with you. Our prayers are with you, and I'm so sorry that this happened to you guys. According to a Facebook post by Mayor Lee Summit, a suburb of about 20 miles southeast of Kansas City. That's where this information was coming from. Lopez Galvin's brother is Lee Summit's Mayor Protem. Protem Beta. I don't even know what that is. Anyways, this is truly heartbreaking and an absolute tragedy, Baird said. Police detained a person tackled by the fans. We're going to talk about that, but just for a second, guys, I just want to have just a moment of silence for her. Yeah, guys, that's heavy stuff, you know. But unfortunately, this is the world we're living in now. And I do think that it is becoming increasingly apparent that kindness and putting others before yourself and this country needs to come together, and it needs to do it quick. There's no other way to put it. We need to lead by example. We need to figure out a way to do things that's going to work, because obviously policing is not working. Until we can figure out a way to stop this senseless violence, policing is now obsolete, guys. We need to be real. Even okay, and this is something that I think a lot of people don't think about. But what's the problem? Well, the problem is gun violence. Is what we're doing working? No, it's not working. How do you find a solution? Well, doing the same thing over and over and over is not a solution. It's not even putting a band-aid on the wound. So guys, the problem that we're having is, outside of the obvious, which is gun violence, right, is how to combat this. Well, a lot of people are going to say, give every police officer who's trained an assault rifle. Fight fire with fire, bullet for bullet, magazine for magazine, right? Okay, let's think about this for instance. Let's use common sense here. If you give every police officer an assault rifle, better tactical gear, and you train them a little bit longer, what do you have? What do you call that, Doc? Extending the training, giving them better gear and weapons. What do you call that?
You can call it many things, dog.
Military.
Like, how you want to run it.
Military.
Yeah, militarize.
That's what it is. It's exactly what it is. So hear me out. The police who chased these people, not just the people who did this in Kansas City, but the police who are chasing suspects with weapons like this, weapons in general. They're being outran, they're being outgunned, they're not trained properly, they're not being trained enough. So yes, what I'm saying is that, and a lot of people are going to be upset with me when I say this, we need to militarize the police. And when I say militarize them, I don't mean give them the right to come into your house without a warrant, to search you without a warrant. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is, there shouldn't just be white and black, okay? It shouldn't be that simple when we're talking about these things. When we say militarize the police, I mean instead of 6 months training, make it a year. Instead of the shitty weapons that they got, give them better weapons. Train them how to use these weapons better, right? I remember when school shootings first started happening, my history teacher in high school was a long time military, not even just a veteran. He was actively in it. He had been in for like 10 years at the time. And when he would come home from doing his tours in Afghanistan, he was a teacher. And so this is a badass guy. He was my football coach. This guy could easily destroy somebody with a weapon, and he didn't even need one, for sure. Badass, right? Fighting terrorism and shit. So I remember when this happened, and they were seriously talking to some of the teachers who were veterans, and they were saying, look, you know, if something ever happens, we're not going to be mad at you if you go to your car and, you know, like they really were thinking about this, arming teachers. I'm with it. Guys, I'm with it. There's a church in Texas where some guy came in with a shotgun and was going to massacre everybody in there, and there was a badass all the way in the back who had a pistol on him. He was like like basically like Walker fucking Texas Ranger, and one shot between the eyes took the guy down, saved it. Who knows how many people's lives? Guys, I'm fucking with it.
So let me be the advocate here, okay? And I'm not gonna say the first word because I don't want to do that, but I'm gonna be the advocate on this one. You mentioned something about militarizing our police force, right?
Yes.
It's already militarized. If you
okay,
look
hold that
at
thought,
the
though.
equipment,
Hold that thought, please.
Hold on.
Please.
Go ahead.
I just want to get to the chat mafia because we have more people coming in. Shout out Subutai. Subutai says MP, which is what you're talking about, Doc. Military police.
Military patrol, right? Military police.
Are you watching the chat all the way?
Yeah, I see. I had to reset it, but I see it, and then I saw. I see Athena said we need to combat the root of the issue. We have a huge mental health issue in this country. Normal people don't do things like this. Now, let me piggyback on what you just said, Athena, because that makes so much sense. And it's gonna pretty much bring in what Smooth just said about the policing. Okay, number one, I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, it's not the gun that's killing people, it's the people that's handling the gun that kills people.
Right.
And that goes with police officers as well. Okay? So number one, I believe police officers need to go through a thorough, deep, mental, psychological background check prior to even picking up a gun or even start training.
Right.
Now that's on the police aspect because there's certain cracks and certain flaws there, and I'm not degrading them, but I'm just speaking from seeing what I saw and the experiences that I've experienced. Guys, I have stories, and we definitely will tell those stories in later episodes. Now, when it comes to the mental health side in the community, well, we got to thank our president when 9/11 happened. Now, people are not going to like me when I say this, and guess what? You just opened up Pandora's box. So, let me plant this seed into you. Mental health became on a rise after 9/11 happened, because you have to ask yourself, why did 9/11 happen? Well, 9/11 happened because you got to understand, number one, Osama was never in Afghanistan. He was never Afghani. He was Saudi Arabia, but that has nothing to do with it. The reason why I say this is because Afghanistan is the world's most productive in opiate. Let that resonate for a second. You said mental health, right? So I'm elaborating on what you're saying, right? So if you think about it, you have to set somebody up, then put a narrative into the media so everybody can believe that this dude is from there, but in reality, he's connected to Saudi Arabia. That's another story because they're connected to the United States. We'll leave that alone. Okay? Now, we can get into that later on. But I'm getting back to this opiate situation. Once we took over, you started seeing a rise in prescriptions for ADD, ADHD, super ADHD. You started seeing a lot of these medications flood. And now we have zombies, and no disrespect, but we have zombies walking around because they're so medicated, they're so doped up. And the thing that people don't realize is that's the problem. It's not the people that's the problem, it's the people that's prescribing it that's worsening the problem.
That's a great point, and I want to ask you something really quick. And you actually have a background in this, or some type of form. And then I do want you to get to the live chat right after this. But the question is, how do you differentiate if it's the people on the pills that are doing this that's causing, is it the pills that's doing this, or is it, how do you differentiate knowing if it's the pills that's doing this to the people or the people not taking the pills?
Okay, so you can do it two ways, right? You can do it two ways. What happens when you go to someone and you try to explain your problems to them, right? And then you start getting into the meat and potato of the problem, and they say, "Oh, your time is up. I'm done. Here, take this medicine. This should help you with your anxiety." Right? And then what happens? They come back again for another 30 days or another month or two for the same evaluation. What happens is they're telling half the story. So when you tell only half the story and you don't get resolution back, what's going to happen? You're going to go right back into that society and become a zombie. Then what happens is you start to realize, wait a minute, you're not helping me out. So let me just stop and let me go do my own thing. So that question actually coincides with each other, because one goes hand in hand with the other, because one is taking it because they're forcing that person to take it, versus sitting there and listening to them speak to you about the whole situation. Then versus trying to get a 15% cut on a prescription from the pharmaceutical company, why don't you tell them a holistic way or a natural way to do it? Go exercise, go hike. Because here's the thing, if people don't want to know this, I'm going to tell them right now, your brain is the most powerful weapon that your body has. Without your brain, your organs don't work. So if your mental willpower is down, well, guess what? Go back to your roots. Stop taking this medication, because once you start taking this medication, here's your answer, Smooth. Your body becomes adapted to it. Your body is starting to yearn for it. You get that in alcoholics, you get that in weed smokers, you get that in crackheads, you get that in cokeheads. Your body yearns for it. So what happens? You can't just cold turkey it, because if you cold turkey it, what happens?
This is just a public service announcement. This is a case-by-case basis, Zena. We're not speaking for everybody. This is a case-by-case basis.
This is based on a question from what Smooth is saying.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying everybody, right? I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying statistically, majority of folks. Let me say that so everybody doesn't get offended by it, okay? So majority of the folks, understand this, majority of folks, that's how it is. Now let me explain why I know this. I used to live in Los Angeles. Understand this. I used to stay in Los Angeles, in the heart of Los Angeles, in the hood. Understand this. And I've seen that transition, that progression. And I've helped a couple people along the lines. So yes, it's not everybody, but you could say it's fucking majority of the people. And here's the reason why I know this. Look at these situations that are happening right now, more and more and more and more and more into the community. Why? Because one, a lot of these people's healthcare is starting to go to shit, or they don't have it no more. That's the reason why, Smooth, they can't take their medication no more. Now, the other thing is or they don't want to take it no more, but they need money because they don't have a job. So what do? They go flip it. Not everybody, but I'm just giving you guys some examples of what is really going on behind the scenes that causes that mental health situation. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I'm not saying everybody. Everybody's not like that. People do get fixed. I'm one of those folks that got fixed. And I'll be honest with you guys. I was that guy. I used to do coke. I used to do meth. I used to drink. I used to all of that. Never did heroin or nothing, but those three main hard things I used to do. And from my experience, let me explain something to y'all. As a testimony, I've never asked anything or went to any counselor, any psychologist, any therapist. I handled it on my own way. So, Zena, I'm with you on this. People can change. I didn't need help to do it. I don't take medication to do it. Yes, I smoke. But it helps me in the sense to where I don't want to take a man-made drug to mess up my body chemistry. Now, am I saying that everybody can afford to do that, meaning with their body and their take? No, I'm not saying that, but I'm giving you my example. And so that's my take on that.
Okay, well, I really appreciate that, man. That's actually shed a lot of light for me on some things I honestly didn't even think about. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to. Okay, so let me just get caught up on chat real quick, guys.
I'm about to go to Discord right quick too. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's see. So Zena was disagreeing. We covered that. So Athena's got something for us, guys. She sent some screenshots here. She said it's the shadow government. They want to get rid of our right to bear arms. Yeah,
and I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Well.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's even.
I also said.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it was just the same thing, but they said that she made. I got you. No, we're good. I got it. I just saw it. It was just the same thing, but she just added a little bit more context. But you're right. It's actually the truth, and sometimes people don't want to hear that, and that's what's going on.
Yeah, and they've been pushing this agenda for a very long time. I'm not like an Alex Jones where I'm going to ever say that something is for 100% sure a motive of the government to try and do this. But
just
again, there's been a lot of false flags that have happened. Operation Northwoods, Operation Paperclip, there's been a lot of false flags that there's proof the government for sure was behind a lot of these things. But when it comes to children, I call it whatever you want to call it being ignorant and ignoring the truth, but I refuse to believe that the government would stoop that low as to target just children in schools. But you guys, you have to look at some of the significant proof that's out there that every time there's a certain amount of casualties and mass shootings, they start pushing we need to take away guns every single time. And I'm just waiting to see the day that people finally put their foot down and start going to these fucking meetings. And we need to go with a small army of our own, over 800 people, to these meetings, guys, and let it be known. We're not going to keep hearing the fucking bullshit. You're not going to convince me that guns are the problem. You're not going to do it. I know people personally that are as dangerous with a knife.
Right. And it's not, listen, and you're totally right. It's not, listen, man, it's deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? Let me put this in your hands right quick, because shout out to Athena. And she makes a point, like, we're starting to talk about this, and she goes, that's what YouTube is blocking because they don't want us talking about it. And X was like, yes. And Athena was like, I'll never say that about the schools. That is a mental health issue. And Zena was like, well, Athena, they will wipe this chat. And Athena was like, but these others, period, meaning these other chats can still talk about it. And so I'm going to say this about this, so nobody can get offended, meaning whoever's listening outside of our chat mafia. What happens when you see, the thing is that President Trump allowed the Constitution to come into play. Okay? President Trump lived and pretty much ran through the Constitution. And it's in our constitutional right that we can bear arms. Okay? So what happens? You sign a bill, and now you have all these everybody starting to stockpile up. And now you have the Democrats over there trying to put bills in to slow down that process. What are you doing? That's our human right, our God-given right in the Constitution that we need to bear arms, right? So what do? When you start seeing the masses starting to control what you're starting to put out, you have to put something out there to slow that shit down. And now it goes to what you said. Now what's going to happen is watch. They're going to bring in stricter laws because there's been consistencies in these mass shootings. And if you ever notice, these mass shootings are at big popular places. You don't hear them in the neighborhoods. You hear them in these little schools, or you hear them in this. You won't see a mass shooter go into a Crip neighborhood. You definitely won't see one go into a Blood neighborhood or an SA hood or a vice lord, all that. You won't see them do that. But you see them at certain establishments. Why? Why? Because you're pushing an agenda?
Yeah, that's
understand that for a second.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it comes down to is the agenda, guys. The agenda at the end of the day. But look, I don't want to keep dragging this. I want to get down to some of the details for some of the people that have been sitting there waiting on them. So, who was detained in connection to this shooting? So, police announced Thursday 2 juveniles and 1 adult have been arrested following the shooting, but the adult was released. I'm thinking that the adult was a parent of or a guardian of one of these 2 suspects. They have not shared any further information about the 2 teenagers. What was the cause of the Chiefs rally shooting? Again, we covered this earlier, that there was a dispute around 2 p.m. Wednesday near the end of the Chiefs victory rally, and another shooting about 30 minutes before the one at the Union Station, also injuring 2 people near Crown Center. And then, guys, there's so much still to this story, and I'm not gonna rest until I get to the bottom of it, because I do want to bring you guys some updates on this, and I do think that we will have at least one day a week where we just update some of the information that we found on some of the previous shows that we're doing. I'm telling you, it was a gang thing. So Zena's saying that she's saying for sure that it was a gang thing. And again, though, we covered this earlier, Zena. I don't know if you were here. I don't believe that there's any situation in the world, whether it be gang related or not, where somebody is going to mow down an entire crowd of innocent bystanders, women, children, elderly people, to kill one person. Or even a couple people. But whatever the case may be, definitely domestic terrorism. Definitely more to the story. But guys, listen, we really appreciate you so much. And a lot of you guys are Chat Mafia folks, and guys, the love and respect I have for you for always supporting us and what we're doing is immense. Tomorrow's episode, the title will be, Does America Care About Its Veterans? And we're going to be discussing...
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
I know Doc is excited about that.
I am. I definitely am. Trust me. Y'all want to hear about mine. You want to hear me speak on this because I am a veteran. And we'll just leave that right there.
So tomorrow's episode, guys, Does America Care About Its Veterans?
Man, I tell you right now, facts over feelings.
And that's our take.